Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for coming to our meeting tonight. This is the League of Women Voters of Florida Clean Energy Action Team monthly meeting. And we happen to be here on May 17th, 2023. We have two fascinating speakers tonight. We are very excited to have them with us. The topic is using community volunteers to perform energy. You can call them audits, assessments, tune-ups. In fact, that's one of the topics. We'll hear about what do we want to call these and what's included in them. This is a very timely topic because essentially we need to encourage everyone to take a look at their own home situation, their own living space situation, and see what they can do to go electric, get off fossil fuels, be more energy efficient. And we need to be talking to our neighbors, our families, and our friends, our circle of influence, because we want them to do that too. We've got a lot of work to do. And this is one of those very important tracks to get us to this healthy planet that we all want to have. And so one of the very first things we want to do in this process is take a look at our own situation and then make a plan. So tonight we have Sarah Kane with us. Sarah is our sustainability program supervisor, and she is with Sarasota County University of Florida IFAS Extension, and she has responsibility for an energy coach program and some other big things to do with sustainability in Sarasota County. And she has a degree in global sustainability from the University of South Florida. Sarah's going to go first, but while I've still got the floor, I'm going to introduce our second speaker. Sarah's going to speak about 15 minutes, then Elaine's going to speak about 15 minutes. Elaine is over in Alachua County, and she is the executive director of the Community Weatherization Coalition. Can't talk today. And excuse me, this is a nonprofit, so it's a different model, but she too has community volunteers that are performing a energy type of audit. And so she's going to be talking about how does that work in a nonprofit context. And I do want to say thank you to Susan Glickman. I don't think she's not here, but she did alert me, kind of educate me that these two programs were out there, and and I'm so glad she did, because it's such a timely topic for all of us. So Sarah, I'm going to turn it over to you. So thank you, Sarah.
Great. Thanks so much for having me, Mary, and everyone. It's good to be here tonight. And I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Can everyone see that okay, Mary?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Great. So again, my name is Sarah Kane, and I manage the sustainability program for Sarasota County. And we have many energy efficiency and solar, renewable energy education programs. But tonight I'm just going to focus on one of the ones that I'm most passionate about, is our energy upgrade program and our energy equity programs, and working with volunteers. So I always like to start the presentation, all of my presentations, with the why. Why are we doing this program, and why is it important? So energy equity is very important, or energy burden is very important, and it's happening across the nation. I'm going to focus on a little bit on Florida, but all of the data and information I'm sharing can be brought to any region or any state in the US. So there's a need because there's a lack of funding and support for energy efficiency programs in our community. And we know that, and I have some data to share for that. And so we need to make sure that everyone is able to upgrade their homes to be more energy efficient and save money on their utility bills. We have equity issues in our county and across the nation. I'm just going to focus a little bit on our county, but you'll see similar data across the state and across the region. And existing conservation programs have typically in the past been geared towards middle income homeowners. And we found a need to reach low income and underserved community members because they have a greater energy burden. And our utility rates and cost of living is increasing tremendously. We've seen a huge increase over the last 3 years and our utility rates going up. And we're going to continue to see that as gas prices and inflation increase. And of course, our cost of living has increases as well. So families are really struggling trying to pay their electric bills. And I always say, because I know you all are interested in solar, and we've had solar co-ops in our county, and we do solar classes and try to educate the community. And we always emphasize that it's important to do energy efficiency first before you consider solar, because you'll be spending less money on solar if you can make your home more efficient first. So just kind of give you an idea of what it looks like here in the South, in the Southeast in particular, in our nation, and Florida. We have our electric utilities are the nation's lowest investment in energy efficiency across the US. And so when we were developing this program, and we actually looked to CWC, we're going to hear from Elaine in a minute, and we based our program off of theirs. We found there's a really a lack and an opportunity for this type of program to help low-income community members. And we also just have a high percentage of fossil fuels. So we want to make sure that we are doing energy efficiency measures first. And in Sarasota County, we have more than 58,000 low-income families that are cost burden. And I'm sure this number has gone up tremendously since the pandemic. A lot of our residents are renters, 48%. And I hear every single day amongst our Sarasota County team, our staff, our community, that people just can't afford to live here anymore. And it's just so expensive. And housing is only considered affordable if you're spending 30% or less of your income on housing costs. And low-income residents are spending a lot more than that. And they're spending a lot more on their utilities because they're living in older homes. And you might have heard of ALICE. It stands for Asset Limited, Income Constrained, and Employed. Our community members are working, and some of them are working 2 or 3 jobs, but still can't afford to live here. Our rents have gone up tremendously, and I'm sure you're seeing that in your cities as well. And this is a study that was done from the DOE, the Department of Energy, and it has this data for every single county, so you can get it for your area as well. And it shows that in Sarasota County, our low-income residents are spending 13 to 19% of their income on energy bills alone, and median plus income residents are only spending 2 to 3% of their income on energy bills alone. And as I keep saying, and I'll say it again, it's these numbers are getting more and more inequitable in our communities. So I'm excited for new data to come out that shows that this is still happening, and it's happening even more now. And we utilize a wide variety of funding sources for our program, our energy upgrade program and our energy equity programs. We use federal, state, and local funding. So we've been lucky that we've received about $8.7 million worth of funding for energy efficiency in the community since 2010. And currently we have a grant from the Department of Energy, and that allows us to purchase our energy and water efficiency devices for our low-income residents. And those are the devices that we use in our educational programs and our installs. We also have received a state grant that we're almost done with from the State Office of Energy to reach low-income residential energy housing providers to provide energy efficiency appliances and HVAC systems. And we also received, in partnership with the Sarasota Housing Authority, which is a local nonprofit in our organization or in our community, we received money from the Branzik Foundation to hire an energy program specialist to work with us, and also hire a maintenance person to work with the Sarasota Housing Authority, and also provide funding for installation and medium level devices that our volunteers cannot install. We also are excited about new funding coming up. So we will be receiving through the infrastructure bill, the energy efficiency conservation block grant money, and we want to expand our program where we're distributing HVAC systems and Energy Star appliances to affordable housing units. We also are just in the process of completing our application for EPA climate pollution reduction grant, and we're actually going to be getting $1 million for our region in Sarasota and Manatee to do a climate action plan, and then have some projects on that climate action plan to apply for other funding for to reduce energy and increase renewable energy in our community. So I can talk about that for a long time. I only have a limited amount of time, but I'm happy to answer questions about that later. But that's happening throughout the entire United States, and we're just taking the lead for our region. And we're also, just really happy to share all this information with you all, because we're trying to expand these programs throughout the state. So our energy upgrade program started in 2012 with our Department of Energy grant. And in 2016, we gathered all the data that I just shared with you and realized we really need to start working with low income community members for our entire program. So we offer those energy efficiency workshops. We offer them in Spanish and English. We've also updated all of our educational materials and translated them into 3 different languages. We distribute kits throughout the community and really try to partner with nonprofit organizations that are already working with this community. And in 2018, we started our Energy Coach volunteer program, and it's a training series that allows citizens to come in and get trained to be an energy coach. And we teach them about energy and water efficiency. We teach them how to teach the workshops, so train the trainer type of presentations. We talk about health impacts, the basics of building systems, resources for financial assistance that they can help share with others. We talk about energy equity and how important that is, and low and no cost energy efficiency strategies. So some of the things that the volunteers do after they go through the training is we do in-home installations and evaluations. So we actually go into public housing units or affordable housing units, and we talk to the residents. We let them know we're coming. We do a mini energy water audit in their home, and then we install devices. So we install faucet aerators, we check for leaks, we install LED light bulbs. We do all sorts of little items in their homes. And we also do a lot of education. The education piece of it is very important to just really get that social behavior change down, so that when we leave, their home will be more efficient, but they'll also learn some behaviors that they can do at home to save even more on their utility bills. So right now and since 2018, we've been installing all of our devices and doing our energy sweeps with our volunteers and Sarasota Housing Authority units with that partnership. And then after that, which we will probably be wrapping that up this year, we're going to really do a bigger emphasis on the nonprofit referrals and low income housing, and go to other affordable housing and anyone else that just wants to have us come to their homes. And we also have our volunteers teach these energy upgrade workshops, and they distribute do-it-yourself energy and water audit kits. We also have these we also have a do-it-yourself kit in the library that people can check out in all of our Sarasota County libraries. And that just educates people, and then they get a kit of all of these materials that they can take home and install themselves. And it's about an hour-long class, so it does go into a lot of education. We also offer one-on-one consultations, and we try to partner with nonprofit organizations to do a help desk or distribute our flyers at different locations. And we do a lot of events. Here's just some fun pictures of some of our coaches and some of our metrics. So we do track as much as we can for data, and we do report annually on how much energy that we're saving if everyone installs the devices, how many light bulbs we install, and those types of things. And so we can calculate our energy and utility savings. This is a great fact sheet that we have used during the pandemic, and then we use all the time now for referrals and different locations. And it has energy and water saving tips on one side, and on the other side it has all the financial resources that are available for low-income community members or anyone that just wants to learn more about assistance. And we're also working on one for the IRA for the rebate and efficiency rebates and tax credits that people are going to be able to take advantage of. So I'm excited about that too. And this is just a little bit more about our FDEX program. So we have installed 20 refrigerators and 19 HVAC systems in affordable housing units, and that has really helped out with those higher level, more investment opportunities for low-income families. And I just want to touch briefly on one other program that we have that is related and that I'm very passionate about. So we also got a grant in 2019, and we partnered with our local foundations. So the Gulf Coast Community Foundation, the Branzik Foundation, the Community Foundation of Sarasota County, and Selby Foundation to work on a program that will allow nonprofits to apply for energy audits and energy and water efficiency upgrades in their buildings. So that's actually reducing their operational costs, because nonprofits are struggling too, and they serve clientele that we want to reach. So if they can save money on their utility bills, then they can provide more services to low-income families. So that's been a really great partnership. It started with just a little grant and then grew because so many people were interested in it. We had more and more funders come in. So we reached 16 nonprofits with energy, water, and solar audits of their facilities. And we actually also installed 4 solar projects on those nonprofit buildings after we did the energy upgrades. And they received a roadmap to learn how they could do even more after the grant was completed. And so just one kind of case study that I always love to share is Children's First. They saved about 20 to 30% on their utility bills, and then they installed solar, and now they're reducing their emissions by 90%. And they just really have a great story to share, because they do take the money that they're saving on their utility bills and they put it back into buying things for their daycare and for low-income families. So it's been a really great partnership that we've had. So I'll leave it at that. And I did send this presentation to Mary. So there's lots of links in here and resources that she can share with you all if you're interested in that. We also have this EDIS series through UF, which has a lot of really great publications about our program and CWC's program. So I put all of those links in there, and you're welcome to check them out later. And I'll be happy to answer any questions after Elaine is done, or now, it's up to you. So I'll go ahead and stop sharing my screen now. Okay, Mary, I think you're still muted.
Thank you. We could take maybe 2 questions and then move on to Elaine and then, yeah, open it up for more questions. And anybody have a question for Sarah? John?
Yeah, is your PowerPoint going to be uploadable somehow? Because there's a lot of stuff you went through really quick that was really good that I wasn't able to capture.
Yeah, I sent it to Mary. So Mary, you are more than welcome to share it however you'd like to
Okay.
everyone here.
Okay.
Thank you. That's great programs. I'm amazed. Let's hear it for IFAS and let's hear it for League of Women Voters.
Well, Sarah gets credit for this.
Yeah, well.
Right. And Mary Gutierrez.
Yes, thank you. Hi, Sarah. Echoing what was just said, great presentation. So I'm in the Panhandle, and so it's very different up here. We have great, wonderful extension agents, but none are really focusing on this kind of stuff. I've already done one program about energy conservation, energy efficiency. I'm in the process of doing 2 more, but some of the materials you have, it would be wonderful to be able to share with the audience. I'm not sure if that's something that you could share that I could distribute to people or how that would work.
Yes, and in a minute, I will put our website in the chat, and that has a copy of our fact sheet. You can use that, share that.
Okay.
If you need a different type of file, just email me. I'll put my email in the chat too, and we can get that to you. The presentation isn't on our website, but I'm sure Mary will distribute that. And that has a lot of links to everything I was talking about and some of the EDIS files that has like more information about this program.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Okay, one more question. That would be Steve.
Yeah, thank you. Great program, Sarah. I wondered, have you all considered going neighborhood to neighborhood or house to house in a neighborhood for the low income residents?
We do, yes, we do that currently. So we go door to door. And so we started with the Sarasota Housing Authority, the public housing, and we set up a whole day of door to door installs. So all the residents get, at least 2 days notice. They get a flyer, it talks about what we're going to be doing, and then we go door to door and we install all the items, and we also educate them if they're there too. And if they're not there, we leave them a packet of information. And we also will take any requests for consultations or in-home installs that are outside of the public housing. So anyone that's low income can just call us and make an appointment for that.
Yeah, I guess what I was thinking about were those neighborhoods that were not part of a housing authority. Say, like, for example, in Newtown.
Yes. Well, we are going to Newtown, so some of the public housing is in Newtown. But yeah, that's a really good point. So after we're completed with this phase of getting all the affordable house, the public housing done, then we're gonna start targeting other neighborhoods, and anyone can take advantage of that when we go into that next phase. Anybody can now, but we're targeting those specific units right now. And then after that, we're going to schedule like days in a certain neighborhood or at other affordable housing complexes or neighborhoods. So yeah, we're moving towards that direction. I think that's a little bit more what Elaine does that she's going to touch on too.
Well, let's pivot to Elaine now, who is in Alachua and has a different story, a different journey. So Elaine, it's yours.
All right, thank you. Let me try to share. It's not giving me the option I want. Let's see. Here we go. All right, can y'all see that? Like the presentation view? Okay, great. All right, so I am here in Gainesville, Florida, Alachua County, to talk about the work of the Community Weatherization Coalition. So we were founded in 2008 to address high utility bills paid by churches and local agencies. And we were created from our parent organization, Rebuilding Together, North Central Florida. So there are Rebuilding Together affiliates throughout the state. I think there's 6 in the state of Florida. But we're an Alachua County-based organization. We've trained volunteers to work with residents in their home to provide these free home energy tune-ups, which we did previously call energy audits, and we learned during a grant and some community-based social marketing that sending an auditor to a home and it wasn't a positive thing perceived by the community. So we now call ourselves energy coaches, and our home energy audits, we call them energy tune-ups. We really focus on working with residents and working with them in their homes, learning from them just as much as we're trying to teach them.
Could you make one slide at a time so it's easier to read?
Oh, what's happening? Sorry. I think it's
You're
probably,
getting one slide and then the next slide is showing rather than having the whole thing at full
it's probably
slide.
because, all right, is that better?
No,
If you go to display settings and click on the arrow, you should be able to.
I think it was because I had my double screen up.
Yeah, if you click on the, here we go.
Oh, right now it's just trying to share a section, isn't it? Okay, how about now?
Okay, perfect. Yay.
Okay, thanks for pointing that out because
Excellent.
I have an extra monitor and it wasn't showing that way. All right. So just like Sarasota County, this energy equity slide came from that same research. And so we're seeing similar numbers that our low income neighbors are paying about 4 times the amount on their utility bills as the whole population. So the reasons are that they are living in that older housing stock, leakier homes, less efficient appliances, and our highest utility burden neighbors are renters, and they don't have control over how old their HVAC or water heater or refrigerator are. So those are the community members that are hit the hardest. And we had a study done by Nick Taylor at UF, and he found the data that proved that, and also he specified the attic insulation was a big need. Over 90% of the homes had inadequate attic insulation, and 20% had no attic insulation at all. So our inequitable energy burdens, this is just basically a heat map showing the need in our community. And as Sarah mentioned, that weatherization is really the first step to being solar ready and climate ready. Our program is serving residents across our county of any income, but we're targeting low income neighbors. So we probably have 5 to 10% of our clients are middle and higher income clients, but all of our targeting is and prioritizing comes with the utility burdened lower income neighbors. So our flagship program and our main program is the in-home energy tune-up program, and we train volunteers twice a year, every spring and fall. It's a 3-part training event and 2 classroom sessions and a full day of a on-site visit. So it's 12 hours, very thorough training. They learn, honestly, the thing they learn the most important is just to listen to the residents and learn from them and not come in with a know-it-all attitude, to be honest, is I think the most important thing that we can teach our volunteers, just to have those listening skills and to really connect with the neighbors. The better connection they have with them when they're in their homes for 2 to 4 hours, the more impact they're going to have in making their homes more energy and water efficient. So we focus on the home as a whole. We talk about the building envelope. We are looking at the doors and windows for weather stripping and air gaps, but we're not actually installing weather stripping or caulking because of if anyone's tried that themselves, it takes a lot of time. It varies widely among houses. So we do help them identify if they might need a door sweep or a new threshold, but we don't have those items in our kit. we're really focused on the low-hanging fruit items. So we are focused on showing them their bill and pointing out that meter in the picture there, showing them the dial that spins if they have an analog meter when their air kicks on, and seeing how fast that spins, just letting them know that that power power line, the power plant, and the utility line, and that's connected to the meter. That's just an awareness that a lot of us don't have when we click our lights on. So we are also installing items, just as Sarah's program is. So we're installing water saving shower heads, LED light bulbs. We put pipe insulation on water heaters and AC refrigerant lines. And then we look at some safety items too, like carbon monoxide detectors. And we share tips throughout the whole process. So we're focused a lot on where they set their thermostat and how they're using their home, in addition to changing those light bulbs. We also provide a follow-up report to them 4 to 6 weeks later, ideally, and a satisfaction survey, and find out if they've made additional changes since we've been there and if they were happy with our volunteers. We always send 2 volunteers to a home. They're trained in that 12 hours, but they're also vetted through criminal background checks. They're wearing t-shirts and name badges like in the pictures there. And we additionally help with next level upgrades, such as attic insulation, plumbing leaks, and new water heaters for a handful of homes a year. This is a slide that I have when I do workshops in the community. So we often do those, but here in Gainesville, we do have currently a local municipally owned utility, and it has a lot of different services on ours. So every community is different and has a different utility, but we point out that it's a lot more than the light bill. A lot of times we hear the word, my light bill is high, but we also have our garbage carts here on our bills, our water and wastewater. So we do point that out in great detail to them, especially our bills have a lot of detail in the back. It shows bar graphs and helps them connect their usage and try to stay within a tier. We have a tier system here in Gainesville. So we have talked, I know your group is focused on solar. We talked about that. So as Sarah mentioned, those are usually out of reach for the lower income neighbors, as affordable as people like to say solar is. When someone is struggling and living paycheck to paycheck, it's really not. They're worried about paying their rent and paying trying to even keep their lights on. So we focus on those lower parts of the pyramid, the understanding, the low cost, no cost, the light bulbs, sometimes the appliances and the next level things. And then they can eventually work their way up and get to that point of solar, hopefully. These are the items that are in the kit. We have also some things like toilet tank banks that I hadn't mentioned yet. So those are just displacement bags that help save water. One of our biggest indoor water users is our toilet. We peek up in the attic for adequate insulation. Our volunteers don't have, we don't have insurance to cover them to crawl around in attics, but we get a good estimate from the hatch. And do things like check their air filter and point out why that's important. Not just, a lot of people think of it as, well, they don't think of it. Sometimes they totally forget they even have one. And if they're a renter, they don't even know sometimes. So we find some filters that look like those in the picture there. So that can really affect the coils and affect the efficiency of their heating and cooling system and cause their bill to be higher. So just keeping it in those terms for residents. Hot water heater. Water heating is usually the second biggest energy cost in the home. So we talk about ways that we use hot water and how we can decrease the usage of hot water, like washing our dishes and our clothing in cold. And then we check the temperature while we're there. So we're also doing a lot of diagnostics, like checking the fridge temp and checking the hot water temp to see if those are at optimum energy efficiency settings. Sometimes we have, we see a lot of this in the picture there, extra fridges and freezers. And if we have those in our garage or porch in Florida, it's working even harder to stay. A freezer is trying to stay 0 to 5 degrees. So kind of trying to point out, if you're not using that in full, perhaps you think about downsizing, communicate it in a way to try to meet them in the middle. Maybe try to downsize one of those extra refrigerators, for example. Cleaning fridge coils is a way to help maintain the fridge and keep it running efficiently. So we point that out and do that with them or for them if they're accessible. And then we're looking at safety items like a carbon monoxide detector, checking smoke detectors for making sure those work, or switching out the batteries as needed. So I know I don't have much time, and I actually have way too many slides. So I'm just going to go kind of quickly for the rest. But we do talk a lot about water. Water is a big part of our bills here in Gainesville. In the rural parts of our county, we might be on a well or not see water as much, but any water we can save them means their well has to pump less and they can save on their energy bill. So our impacts here in Alachua County, we currently do have a public utility, which is great. So we can pull the data, and we had UF Program for Resource Efficient Communities analyze our data and compared it to property appraiser data, and had a community baseline tied to weather patterns. So you guys can find this on our website. I can send you after a link to the entire report, but this showed that and we've saved over 1,600 kilowatt hours of energy per household, over 6,200 gallons of water per household, and it's about 10% our tune-ups are saving households, and that's showing a lot of persistence. So 5 and 6 years later, it's showing the same amount and higher. So if we take that, over 1,600 homes served and multiply it, that's millions, hundreds of thousands of dollars we saved our community, millions of kilowatt hours of energy, and tens of millions of gallons of water. So we would love to see that replicated across more and more areas in our state and nation, and really amplify that even further. In our homes, they're saving about $255 per home on average, with just these low-hanging fruit changes. Here's a map of all of our clients served. That gray boundary in the back is our city limits, and currently the bulk of our funding comes from local government. So a majority of our tune-ups have happened in Gainesville in the city limits. I'm also going to share my slides so you guys can have this. We've created a DIY program inspired by Sarah and Sarasota County's program. So when COVID hit, we couldn't go into people's homes for 2 to 4 hours, and we loved this idea that they had, that we've heard about, that they were having backpacks in the library. So we took that and adapted it in our own way, where we took our current kits, and now we have it in 3 or 4 different library branches in the community. And we created a YouTube tutorial playlist for the DIYers to, learn more and learn how to insulate their hot water heater pipes, for example, and have step-by-step diagrams in the kit. So we've kept that going along with our main program of our in-home tune-ups. But since we've reopened our in-home tune-ups last year, the DIY demand has definitely slowed. So you can see there that out of 174 households, 32 of those were DIY last year, and 142 were with the volunteer energy coaches. And our goal this year is to reach 200, hopefully. And that is because we've gotten some recent funding to expand our staff through federal dollars through the ARPA grant, federal dollars being funneled through our county. And there is a new cool program for rental program where they get energy efficiency upgrades, which is really great because usually renters are kind of left out of a lot of those rebates and tax incentives. So this allows, this is require that the renter is low income and that the they can't raise a rent within a certain amount of time more than the rate of inflation. So there's parameters for the landlord to sign and adhere to. And we have some broader goals. I know I'm probably out of time, but the ICUS extension and the task force, Florida Energy Equity Coalition that Sarah mentioned, those EDIS documents are really great starting point for you or anyone in your community that's looking to adapt similar programs or see where you can start. And it's been really great to be a part of that coalition and to hear about the different communities that are incorporating it in the way that works for them and starting small with a workshop or I think workshops and the DIY kits are there's already materials ready through Sarasota County, like to just get you going. And we just won an award for this program, so you can check that out. Thanks. So yeah, we've gotten 30 different counties involved in 5 extension districts. So it's really great. And I think someone earlier asked Sarah a question about this, but they've incorporated some things in Tallahassee area. So a lot of the programs that are for new home buyers, there's ways to incorporate energy efficiency in a lot of the programs that exist. It's usually, it is honestly super labor intensive to do what we do. And to recruit volunteers, train them. We're also recruiting our clients. And so there's a lot of energy that goes into that, but starting where you can, and even just a little bit of energy efficiency work can help lower utility bills. So
Elaine, could you stop sharing and we'll get back as a group?
Yeah.
Thank you. There we go. Okay, questions for Elaine? Oh, I think BB is raising her hand. Yeah. You're on mute, BB.
My connection is very bad, so if when I raise my hand, you just read my comment, I'm very happy. Do you see my comment in the chat?
We're hearing you fine.
Okay, then I'll have to go back to it. But basically, I was thinking is in Collier County, I know that our league is involved with other things, but have you thought of, by the way, that's a spam. Have you thought of reaching out to the library associations? Because I think my impression is that they're not at least in Collier, they could be more proactive about putting out public information about these issues. Like if I talk to the libraries, could you give an education presentation and tell them how to put up displays, et cetera? Because that would cover the whole county. And maybe make presentations through the libraries.
Yeah, we do that, and we think that's a great starting point. Do you think there's anyone in your area that could start that if we provide?
I could do something like that. By the way, I tried to connect you on LinkedIn, and just to let you know. But
I'll find you. Thanks.
I ran for political office, Collier County Commissioner on these kinds of issues. And so I'm kind of a persona non grata everywhere. And I do belong to the league, and they are just so busy and they have their priorities right now. But I think if you did it on a statewide basis, you could hit maybe if you even got 10 libraries all over the state to step up, maybe I could work with you that way.
Yeah, I think that'd be great for our Florida Energy Equity Coalition. We're meeting tomorrow, so I'll talk to them about that. Yeah,
and you can, I think you have my contact information. Well, you can go to LinkedIn and connect to me.
Okay.
And then I have a lot of blogs on LinkedIn, but I think that if you just started giving statewide presentations to groups, you get takers, just like this one, which is really a statewide group. And for each presentation, you make it one yes, which is good in a different place.
Good thought, BB. We have a question from Wes.
I'm unmuted, and this is a tangent, Mary, and please forgive me. Other questions, I'll step aside. Elaine's done a great, CWC has been a great program here in Gainesville. They've been a great partner with the city. They've worked with GRU, the UAB. I'm going to put a request out there. The state of Florida is attempting and may very soon, if Governor DeSantis signs it, take away GRU. City of Gainesville will no longer have a utility. That language in that bill says that the new authority appointed by the governor may not fund things like social equity or environmental programs. If that statute gets passed, I assume that funding to CWC would go away. I don't know that, and I'm not trying to put a land on the spot, but we're in a pickle. The Alachua League of Women Voters has been out front and center and trying to lead the cause against this. I'm going to put a link in the chat. If you go to that link, it's our website. It will show you how you can send a letter to the governor asking him to please veto this bill. I know it's just a Gainesville issue now, but I can promise you, Gainesville's first.
Yeah.
Your utility is going to be next. This man's not afraid of Disney. He's not afraid of New College. He's not afraid of anything. And if any of you have a public utility and you want to keep it, I would implore you to please write a letter to him now. So thank you. I apologize for the diversion.
Good idea. And Karen.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, that's House Bill 1645. And yeah, we all need to get together and write letters and oppose it. It's gone to his desk for signature, and we need to get that stopped. So thank you for talking about that, mentioning it. Yes.
And I would be remiss not to mention how much, Elaine, CWC, they've done an amazing job in Gainesville. They are a true success story. We have Gainesville, GRU has a LEAP program, low energy. I don't know exactly what it is, but between LEAP and CWC, they've done really great things.
Right, and it does affect the rest of us who have municipal utilities as well. So we can't let that happen to GRU.
Yes, thank you. You're right. We would probably lose our funding. That likely happens. Conservation programs would probably be slashed, and they've tried it in 2017 here and it didn't work. And they've also tried in Jacksonville to take over JEA and it got defeated, but it's not looking good for us. So we need your help.
He's tried multiple times. He, being Representative Clemens and Senator Perry, have tried multiple times. They've been voted down every time. So this time they simply, they're avoiding democracy and they're not allowing a vote, not allowing a referendum. It's going by gubernatorial appointment.
So bad. Any other questions for Elaine? Or for Sarah, either one.
Yeah, or for Sarah, because I took way too much time and I apologize. I didn't plan that well.
Sarah, I know you have got a package that you would like to see other IFAS departments take on. Could you explain that a little bit more?
Yeah, so there's an Energy Equity Coalition that Elaine mentioned as well. And on my last slide there, it has links to EDIS documents that were prepared by our director and CWC and some other UF people. And it basically is like an outline of everything that we're doing so that other county extension offices or other organizations can take advantage of that and look at those publications and information and adopt it in their communities. Yeah.
Would that require funding of some sort?
Yeah, I mean, it really does require funding. However, communities or cities or extension offices can start small. You can start with a library backpack or do-it-yourself kit and work maybe with your local government sustainability offices, because we are all trying to do these types of programs. There's a lot of funding available right now. So if anyone is interested in learning more, please feel free to contact me or Elaine, and we can point you in the right direction.
Okay, we are almost up at the end of the hour. Lisa, do you have a quick question?
Yeah, I was just wondering, since not every city or county has sustainability people, and not every area has programs like this. So I'm wondering if there's, Sarah, you had mentioned something about other extension offices around the state. I'm wondering if there's been something implemented recently of a program like yours being more broadly distributed that we can coalesce with.
Yeah, just what I had mentioned about the EDIS documents, that's in that coalition with UF is really the only thing that I know of so far. Historically, extension offices focus on agriculture and Florida-friendly landscaping and some of these other things. But you know, all of the materials are available if anyone wants to teach that type of program. We have a presentation slide deck all ready to go. So if anyone's interested in teaching that at their local extension office, we have all the resources available to teach that type of program.
Well, I want to say thank you so very much to both Sarah and Elaine. Thank you for very informative programs. And this is a group that is ready to soak up this good information and maybe, you know, push the boundary somewhere. So we're pretty good at doing that kind of thing. And I will be distributing the slides and the recording to people who are registered. And if there's other folks that you want this to go to in your community, you could share the slides directly, but let me know about the recording and I can send it direct to those folks. So yeah, another very informative program. Thank you so very much. Just want to let you know, next month we will be hearing from the architectural firm that designed the Neo City Academy down in Osceola County. That was the state's first zero energy school. And these folks have had experience in building these kinds of schools in Florida and beyond. So it'll be good to hear, you know, what their experience is and how they're working with clients to do a lot more of that. We need exactly that kind of thing here in Florida. And I think it would be great for this group to absorb that and be able to take it to their local school districts. Because as we know, this is the decade to do that. We are under, it is now time to take a lot of action. Well, say good night, everyone. And thank you for doing the work you do in your communities. And we will hope to see you next month. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us. Thank you.